ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Warrior by Design channel. This is the Servant Warrior Ethos podcast, and I'm your host, Equus Christie. And today, we explore the fortress of traditional values, specifically focusing on chivalry and masculinity's pivotal role in shaping societies for generations. Alright, so let's begin with a foundational understanding. Now, throughout this channel and this podcast, I've spoke about chivalry, and I'll continue to speak about chivalry, but just for summation reasons, let's just say that historically, chivalry stands for virtues like bravery, courtesy, and honor. It's the shield and defender, the respecter of all, especially women, children, and the weak. Masculinity at the very core, traditional masculinity, is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles that have historically been associated with men. This has, for eons, been defined by attributes like strength, leadership, stoicism, and the mantle of being the provider and protector. But what does that look like in the framework of society? Historically, men have been at the forefront of leadership, whether that's in tribes, nations, or empires. Now, that's not to say that females or their spouses weren't involved in the background. Not at all. But this male role has brought with it the duty of decision making, ensuring the welfare of communities, and steering the course of civilizations. Again, not without female input. Obviously, female input was there. For an example of this, we can look at great leaders like King Leonidas of Sparta, who embodied courage, or the wisdom of leaders like Charlemagne, shaping the ethos of entire nations. Men, by traditional definition, have been the shields of families and societies. This role is not just about physical protection, but also about ensuring emotional and financial security. Look no further than the image of the father heading out to work, ensuring his family's well-being, or the figure of a soldier defending his homeland's boundaries. Traditional masculinity also involves a sense of duty, a moral code that guides interactions, decisions, and lifestyles. It's about respect, dignity, and an unwavering commitment to one's principles. We look no further than, as I frequently have and will discuss on this channel, the codes of chivalry and Bushido of the samurai, which emphasizes virtues like justice, courage, and loyalty, guiding the life of these warriors in all spheres. Also, throughout history, men have often been taught to be stoic, to keep their emotions in check, especially during crises. This stoicism, while sometimes misconstrued as emotional absence, is about stability and resilience. For example, during calamities or wars, men often have to put emotions aside to make those tough decisions, or to comfort their families and their communities. An integral aspect of traditional masculinity is mentorship. Older men passing down knowledge, skills, and wisdom to the younger generation, ensuring continuity and growth. We can look at various cultures to see this: African, Native American, where there's a rite of passage led by elder males, which have been pivotal in marking a boy's transition to manhood. We're at a crossroads where these time honored principles are being debated and sometimes even sidelined. Now, some critics argue that these roles are restrictive, but it's essential to understand them in their historical and cultural context. Why does it matter to champion and adhere to these traditional male roles? Well, they've provided structure and stability, shaping societies in profound ways. For centuries, societies have thrived with these pillars intact. Men, as leaders and protectors, have played significant roles in shaping cultures, providing stability, and fostering growth. The virtues enshrined in chivalry and masculinity offer a moral compass, guiding decisions, actions, and interactions, ensuring respect and honor remain paramount. But in an age where everything is questioned, where do these traditional values face challenges? Primarily in media representation. The stalwart male figure, once revered in tales and on screens, now often finds himself caricatured, ridiculed, or sidelined in popular culture. I mean, come on. We've all seen the commercials where they make the guy look like the village idiot. Rapid societal change and a push for new norms sometimes overshadow the merits of time tested principles, which lead to imbalances. And we're seeing the effects of these imbalances. So, what's the call to action for those who value and seek to uphold these traditions? Chiefly, we have to educate the young. The youth should be acquainted with the noble aspects of traditional masculinity and chivalry, not as constraints, but as guidelines that have stood the test of time. They should be exposed to movies and literature, like John Wayne's movies, uh, any kind of book dealing with chivalry and knighthood. Three Musketeers, King Arthur, and Tales of the Knights of the Round Table, um, Beowulf. I mean, all these positive masculine stories that are out there, and they are out there. Then we need to recognize and applaud figures, both historical and contemporary, who exemplify these virtues. Moreover, we need to embody these principles in daily life. We need to foster dialogues and create spaces where these topics can be discussed candidly, where the merits of tradition can be appreciated without dismissal. The essence here isn't to reject change, completely, but it is to emphasize that there's enduring wisdom in the traditional roles that men have held. By understanding, respecting, and upholding these values, societies should find a balanced way forward. Tradition must be preserved. As we move forward, the key isn't to discard these roles, but to defend them, to understand and to adapt them to our current societal landscapes as best we can, to combat the effeminization of boys and of boys who will grow up to be men or should grow up to be men. We can still embody the principles of leadership, protection, honor, resilience, and mentorship while embracing a more comprehensive definition of masculinity that is not absent of the acknowledgement of the multifaceted nature of being simply human. But that doesn't negate the fact that there are masculine and indeed feminine roles. They're not at odds with one another, but they're there to be companionship to one another and to parallel one another. Where one's strong in one area and the other's weak in the other area, well, there you have a compromise between the two. And you have values and not just values, but the ability to blend one's strengths with one's weaknesses to make up a difference in society. I want to thank you for joining the podcast today and remind everyone and call out for everyone to keep the torch of traditional chivalry and masculinity burning bright, illuminating our paths through Christ Jesus. Until next time, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and share these videos. And we'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.